Okay, before I start this video, I have a couple of pre-existing videos on Navara. One is an install and the other one is how you set up the Wi-Fi immediately after you set an install up. I'm going to add these on front of this video. The simple fact it saves you having to watch those two videos, they're only two short ones anyway, before watching the rest of the going into the Navara OS itself. After booting up via the USB, this is the first screen that will come up. This is the install, so I'm going to quickly go through this for you. It's very simple, literally just a quick guide. So it will ask you for whichever language you want first. If you are English, it will stay American English first. You will look through. I don't think you will find an English in any other way for now. So just cancel that and click the next button. And then you can basically click on the map. I'm in England, which my nearest one is London. Click to that, just change it to the European region, time zone London. Once you've got your own region set, next again, and then here's where you can change your languages. So for me, well, keyboard language first, English UK, default English UK, because I'm not a weirdo that will want to use anything else. So next button again, and then here's where you put your name. This is going to be my screen capture device, so I will just type out what I want to put up as my computer's name. Right, also you on Navara 43 you need to click the reuse of password as root password or it will not install properly, so make sure you click this one, and then also log in automatically, asking for, just so it logs straight in without having to type in your password each time. Now if you want to put a password in, here's where you put it in, right here and there. I don't really need to put that in because it saves every time I want to update. I don't have to put a password in, it just automatically does it. So I'm doing it that way, but if you really need to do that, I would put a password on. For me, it's more of a convenience thing. So next again. Now here's where we're doing things. I'm going to do this install as a brand new install, so it's not going to install alongside or do a manual partitioning. I'm going to make things easier. With manual partitioning, you can change the size of your swap drive, so you can give yourself a little bit extra RAM if you need it. This machine doesn't need it, so I will just basically hit the erase disk, swap drive. Yeah, sorry, it's already come up there, and it will tell you how it's going to look at the bottom. That's where it is at the moment. So I'm Mint 22.3 Xeno at the moment. I'm going to be changing it to Navara, and just click next. Then it'll just give you a run through of what everything is, what keyboards you have set out, what partitions is going to be made for it. And press install. Now note on this, if you have a hard drive that has stuff on it, you need to get anything important out first, because this process wipes the entire hard drive and sets a new partition. So install now, and there we go, starts going. So I will catch up to you and when this thing's stopped, and I will tell you the next part. And after rebooting, this is what the screen will come up with. It's the welcome screen. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go straight into actually setting up your network. Just connect to that one because that's my network. When you're going to internet, use the classic blowfish encryption file. That's the easiest one, and you don't have to remember other certain keys for GPG encryption. Okay, because you haven't set, here's where you put your password in. I haven't set a password, so I can just press OK, and yes, and it's done. Hi guys, today I'm going to be looking at something called Nubara Linux. This is the operating system Linux distro that I used for nearly 7 months. I quite liked it, but there are several things that just didn't quite work what I needed to do. They did it at the very beginning perfectly fine, but as time went on, like things like Zoom, DaVinci, a couple of little daft little quirks just didn't seem to run properly. Zoom goes in, works properly, but some of the features don't seem to be there like they are on a Windows machine. So yeah, I'm just going to take a bit of a quick in-depth look. Say in-depth, not particularly in-depth, but it shouldn't be as long as the last one that I did. This time I know what I'm doing, he says. Famous last words. But we're going to go ahead and teach you the first quirk of Nubara Linux compared to something like, say, Zorin or Mint, which is how you update the App Center. Now this is called a DNF App Center because it's, like I say, it installs things slightly differently to Ubuntu, Mint, Zorin, the usual standard distros. This is just literally goes straight into the updates when you come up first. There's quite a few updates that need to do, and it shows them slightly differently to, say, Ubuntu Pop, just like shows you in the list, where this just gives you a quick tile, and inside each one of them is literally several different ones, to be fair. Each little one, there's usually up to 5 to 10 inside certain ones, but the majority it's just one. So I'm going to just click select all and update, and because I didn't set a password up when I first set this up, as you saw in the last video, it will just flash up and start doing it just like that, and it comes in like a terminal box. Let's open it up a little bit more, even though it never seems to fit properly on this monitor for some reason, but anyway, I'll move it across and see if I can make it just fit the screen a little better. And it comes up like a terminal, or very similar to a terminal update. So if you basically go to open the terminal, sudo dnf apt update all, or install a certain program, and it would run this in something like what I'd call the terminal. It'd literally do exactly the same as this, just roll it down. So once this is all over and done with, I'll come back and show you how an install of a certain program works, or several programs, as it's not as much of a graphical user interface. Although it isn't. It's a very strange one, but I kind of got used to it and I kind of liked it. So I'll get back to you once this is done. Now, I would call Nubara Linux more of a medium style in difficulty of Linux. It's a little bit harder than Mint and Zorin. It's pretty similar to how difficult Ubuntu is, but what I find a little bit easier is because it's on the Fedora platform, but has been a lot of tweaks and inputs have been already added. So stuff like OBS will work straight. As soon as you download the package of OBS, you don't need to go into terminal to get it to work properly. Like I found with Ubuntu, you have to install it via terminal. This is kind of the in-between sort of phase between, sort of like I say again, Mint and Zorin, than it does to Ubuntu, Fedora itself. I mean, Fedora, you've got to do a lot more to get things to work. I never reached the Arch phase, so it's like Arch is one of those where you need to know what you're doing as well as Cache OS if you're going to go down the routes of gaming. But it is still simple enough to use once you work out where you get your programs for. Like I've said before, you don't go on the internet, download a zip file, or download the installation files, bring it into Windows and run it via the file manager. It's one of those where you've either got to go into the DNF app manager, or literally go into terminal. Now apparently, because these tweaks have been made, it's been tweaked for streamers and gamers. I could never ever get anything to do with the games working, like any of the retro bat or something, or the Linux equivalent. I never got working, and I think that's because when I first started, I literally was still in my Windows mind, trying to find stuff on the app manager, and I didn't know any of the programs names, so I was trying to find something on that, and it was never showing anything. I then found something called, it wasn't RetroBuy, it was, I found something, but I still could never get them to work properly, like Zemu, for the original Xbox emulator. I've never once got that working on a Linux distro, no matter what I did, no matter what files extra downloaded for the BIOS of the Xbox and stuff like that, and or how to save it. It just never would take. Maybe another little reason why I had to go to Windows as well, because although with Pop OS I could get a retro, like Batasera working or something daft like that. It wasn't Batasera, but it was like a retro back, but it's not called retro back, and I cannot remember the name of it. But that worked fine for everything but the Xbox. Everything else worked. I always found it difficult to be able to boot up or create an ISO file for another Linux or even Windows on it. It just, no matter which program I used, even if I tried to do not even Rufus, like Rufus never seems to work on Linux anyway. But which was the other one? Berliner Etcher. I could never get anything like that to work or run on Nabara, where Mint, Zorin seems to just seem easier to get to work. Also, like I was saying before, Zoom. That's the only one where I had to download the file from the internet and then go into terminal, go onto the file system, get into where I've downloaded the zip file, unzip it, and then run a terminal command to get it to install. It was just so bizarre. It seemed to work pretty straight away, but every time I try and share my screen and then turn the share screen off, it never turns off. So I don't know if I've done something wrong with the install or anything like that. So it's one of those where you need to know that a little bit more, but it did serve me quite well for the 7 months, because you only used it for the streaming part. Like I said, I used KDN Live on it, and that worked perfectly on the Nabara Linux. Had no problems whatsoever recording or editing to a limited amount. I tried to get DaVinci Resolve working on it as well. There is, even when you go on the, I'll show you it. I'll show you it once this is done. There's, when you go on the welcome screen, there's extra. It's like you go through your, like I'm here, through your updates first, and then you got to install a codec pack. But at least on this one, it tells you step by step what you need to do to get everything running, for stuff like VLC media player, or even when you're recording, you need the codec pack for when you're recording for OBS, to be fully compatible with it. Again, these codecs have to be put on afterwards because of licensing. Again, now I've just updated everything on Nabara, and it's asking me for a reboot because it's updated the kernel. Expected that on this one because this is quite an old ISO. It's a good few months old. This is Nabara 4.3, if you was wondering. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot the system, and then I'll show you when the welcome page pops up about the steps that you have to take to get things up and running properly. Okay, rebooted, and this is the screen that comes up when you first install Linux. You get your welcome screen, and then you should be going on to something called first steps. First step is always update. I've already done that, so the next step I always do is you install your media codec packages. Again, you've got to do this because of licensing laws, US patents mainly than anything else. So you just click the accept to say yes, you want the codecs. So once this is done, I'll come back to you because there's a couple more little quirks as well that I need to talk to you about. Okay, that's the codecs installed. Comes up with a pop-up letting you know all your packages have been installed. Now, when it comes to your hardware with Nabara, things are a little bit different, especially if you're running NVIDIA graphics card, especially when it's like the 30 series or later, like 3060, 3070, and later on than that, you have to download a different ISO off the website. Now I'm going to show you how to install just a couple of programs in on Nabara. One mainly is because I don't like Brave browser, so I'm going to install Firefox, and the easiest way to do that is literally go into the App Center, let that boot up a little bit when it decides to do it. It can sometimes take a little while for the repositories to load up. Once that, initially it goes straight into your updates, so you can just basically, if there's an update, you just click select all updates and install. But if you're going to go into looking for software, you basically have to click on the repositories first, and then literally type what you're looking for in the search bar. Slightly different to Zorin, Mint, Ubuntu and stuff like that, where it's a bit more of a graphical user interface thing going on. So it's more like icons and pictures more than the typing part. This is a bit of in between the GUI side and the terminal side. It's more like a terminal interface is this one. So I'm just going to type up Firefox, hit the enter button, and it comes straight up. So it does still work like a app store, but you just got to type stuff in more rather than do a full search. This is why I liked it a little bit more than stuff like Zorin and Mint, where especially with Zorin you've got to seem to cycle through a lot of scrolling just to find the app you're wanting. So I'm going to install this now. So you just click the little plus button and then install. Again, because I haven't set up a password, it'll just immediately start doing it, start running through, start downloading it and installing it. Once this is installed, I'm going to show you a couple of other little bits and bats. Now, why did I show you a Firefox install? There's a couple of differences when it comes to Nabara. Mainly due to if you've got NVIDIA graphics card, If you've got something like a 30 series, like 3060, 3070, or later, well, newer should I say, rather than later, you have to download a different ISO file. Now I'm going to show you that now. Let's give this a quick skip. So bear with me a second. I'll do this in real time because I can't be bothered with all this rubbish. So what we need to get done. Yeah, I'm still moving stuff around on my desk, even though the fish tank's gone, ready for an upgrade on my desk coming very soon. I'm still struggling at the moment. Maybe not quite as bad, but so is it clicking on? Why is it not clicking? Why is it being a pain in the backside? So just hit. You know, I hate doing new systems sometimes but I don't want to. I'm not going to sign in. So we go the Navara project. I'll just jump into that first, and straight away. What is it bloody done? Where's the... Have I done this wrong? I think I might have done. So back it up one. Download the bar. There we go. Here we go. So, as I was saying before, there is a couple of differences. Never mind, install guide. So you've got there's several ones. The official GNOME GUI. That's what I've normally been using. Maybe I should have gone on to the KDE version, but there's a couple of different graphical user interfaces you can use as well. So I'll just go for the standard official one first. No, it's not that one. So where's the official? There we go. I just have to go down a little bit further. It's been a while since I've been on this site. If you've got an NVIDIA driver, you will download one of these ISOs rather than the standard. If you've got anything newer in the NVIDIA, you still have to just download the standard one because it's only in the 30 series plus where you need to download the NVIDIA ISO, like with the old 1050s, which are no longer supported because even NVIDIA themselves have stopped support for that. With something like the 2060 or 2080 or whatever it is, you would still just download the standard Navara ISO. But as I've only got AMD graphics card, I can't show you NVIDIA install. Maybe I need to pick up one to be able to show you that at some point in the future. There's even the Steam version of Navara. Oh, that's something else as well. Steam's automatically inbuilt into Navara because, like I say, it's optimised for streaming and gaming. Now, I've come to this welcome app screen again for another particular reason. Is if you want to install DaVinci Resolve in Navara, it's slightly different to when you can still download the zip file and run it in terminal. This kind of does it for you. So you would just hit the launch button and then open the DaVinci download page if you don't have the zip file already, and then once you have the zip file, you just select the downloaded zip file. It's a bit like a mini Rufus sort of, or mini ISO burner, and instead of having to go into the terminal and run the command, it actually just does it for you, which makes it a little easier. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit into the file system in Linux. It's slightly different to Windows. So with this one, it is literally something called Dolphin on Nabara. It's a relatively decent file manager. I found it a decent one. I found it easier than some of the other ones. So you just click on it and let me upload up it a little bit, and as you can see, all your folders are all down here, like your down folders, home folder, desktop folder, documents folder, stuff like that is always down one side. And then you have your boot partition and your root partition. You don't really need to be going into them too much. I'm going to clip that, and then I'm going to just clip in or pop in, when I can find it, a USB stick. If I can find one, just to show you how to open and mount a USB stick. So you literally just stick it in, and it should pop up at the bottom corner. And then you've got Linux Mint, and then you've got a writable part of it because I've the way I made it. So you just basically click your mount and open, and you go straight into your USB. And if you can see down here, it's showing you that that's mounted. That isn't, so you can just basically click there and mount it, and you click the safely remove button, and it's there, and the same again. You can just remove it. It's that simple. It's really easy to. It's as easy as Windows on USB sticks. Well, I think that's about all I can go through. Well, all I'm really willing to go through at this moment in time, as I'm not really using Linux as much on my Steam machine, Stream machine, should I say, not Steam machine. Yes, it replaces Windows to an extent. Like I've mentioned in a couple of other videos I've got, Linux just isn't quite there for everything and for everyone. A lot of confusion with Linux, as well as what distro you're going to choose. Some distros are specifically for certain things, some are more generalised, some aren't, some are really specific, where I find Nabara is quite specific for your streaming stuff, for the safe for the gaming stuff as well, but I never seem to be able to get the gaming stuff running on Nabara, hence why I was using Pop at the time, because I found that the easiest one to use. But even then, that had limitations, and the graphical user interface on that is in beta mode. I think it might be just out of beta now. It's something called Cosmic Desktop, which they've changed to. I mean, you can put KDE back on it, but I've never tried to change a desktop environment. I think it's a bit beyond me. I'll probably end up damaging the machine. I maybe might give it a try on this machine at some point. Download something like Ubuntu and try and put KDE over the top layer, or even in Pop, because I know that more than Ubuntu. But yeah, everything does work to an extent. When you start wanting to do a little bit more professional stuff, I find the solutions that you're given never seem to work properly on Linux. But anyway, thanks a lot.